Today we will discuss about the esophagus. It is the muscular tube for the gastrointestinal tract. This is the esophagus. It is lies inside the thorax. It lies inside the posterior mediastinum and inside the neck. So it is the extent from the lower end of the pharynx. There are three parts of the pharynx: nasopharynx, oropharynx and laryngopharynx. So it extends from the lower part of the pharynx at the level of the C6 vertebra, nearly inside the neck, at the thyroid level, C6 vertebra to the cardiac orifice. This is the cardiac orifice of the diaphragm, and below it becomes continuous as a stomach. So this is the end of the esophagus. It is the cardiac orifice of the stomach. Measurement, it is nearly 25 centimeter in length and it is nearly 2 centimeter in width. Lumen, it is flat anterior-posteriorly. Here you can see the lumen which is flat anterior-posteriorly and open up only to allow the passage of the bolus of the food. It has a three parts: the cervical part into the upper part, thoracic part, and the very small part, it is called the abdominal part. Cervical part nearly 4 centimeter length, 20 centimeter length, it is the thoracic part, and 1.25 centimeter length of the aortic part. Course of the esophagus. It from origin, the esophagus pass downwards and in front of the vertebral column. This is a vertebral column. In front of the vertebral column, it goes downwards. Runs through the posterior part of the superior mediastinum. This is the part of the superior mediastinum where there is a sternal angle. Behind to it, there is a superior mediastinum and upper part. Above to the sternal angle, the upper part, it is called the superior mediastinum, and below to it, it is called the inferior mediastinum. Inferior mediastinum, again three part, and esophagus lies inside the posterior mediastinum. So it lies inside the superior mediastinum behind to the trachea. Here you can see this is the trachea and arch of aorta. We have removed the heart, so it lies behind to the pericardium and arch of the aorta, and then it passes to the posterior mediastinum. It lies inside the posterior mediastinum in front of the vertebral column and right of the descending thoracic aorta. This is the descending thoracic aorta, and so it is right to the descending thoracic aorta. And finally it pierces to the diaphragm at the level of the T10 vertebra to end into the cardiac end of the stomach at the level of the T11 vertebra, 2.5 centimeter left of the median plane. So it is slightly left side of the median plane. So relation anteriorly, it is related with the trachea. Here you can see anteriorly it is related with the trachea, and recurrent laryngeal nerve on the bones both the side. Here you can see this is a vagus nerve, and this vagus nerve which is torn. Here you can see this is a recurrent laryngeal nerve. This is the turn of the vagus nerve which is torn, and this is the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So here we have removed the arch of aorta, also anteriorly the trachea, arch of aorta, recurrent laryngeal nerve on the side, and the left principal bronchus. Here you can see this is the left principal bronchus lies over the esophagus. We have already removed the pericardium, fibrous pericardium, and inside the lower part there is a related with the diaphragm. On the posterior aspect, it is related with the vertebral column. This is a vertebral column throughout. It is posteriorly related with the vertebral column, and it is covered by the muscles, prevertebral fascia and right posterior intercostal artery. Here you can see these are the because the aorta which lies on the left side, and behind to the esophagus all the artery which is arise from the right posterior intercostal artery which is arise from the aorta from the posterior aspect. So it is posterior intercostal artery lies behind to the esophagus. So here you can see this is the posterior intercostal artery, even azygous vein. Here you can see this is the azygous vein lies posteriorly thoracic duct lies posteriorly, and into the lower part it is related posteriorly also the lower end of the diaphragm. On each side it is related with the, here you can see on each side it is related with the common carotid artery. Here you can see this is a right common carotid and this is the left common carotid. On each side it is related, this is the esophagus. So on each side it is related with the common carotid artery, and above there is a, we have not dissected, but the lobe of thyroid gland, and inside the posterior mediastinum here both the side there is a lung and pleura, mediastinal surface of the lung and pleura, and presence of the vagus nerve. Presence of the vagus nerve, here you can see this is the vagus nerve, this is the left sided, and here you can see this is the right sided vagus nerve. So on each side it is related with the common carotid. You have to remember both the common carotid. Into the cervical region there is a thyroid gland, and inside the posterior mediastinum on each side it is related with the mediastinal surface of the lung and pleura. So and vagus nerve which is related. So these are the relations of the esophagus. Esophagus have a two curvature, and it is externally there is a two curvature, and there is a internally it is the constrictions. Curvature which is corresponding into the cervical region, here it is a one curvature at the into the upper part at the level of the C6 vertebra, and another curvature it is the into the thoracic region. So upper beginning at the C6 vertebra there is a one curvature, it is a lateral curvature, and the lower one curvature at the lower end at the T6 and T7 vertebra. These are the two lateral curvature of the esophagus. The constriction of the esophagus, one constriction of the esophagus at the beginning of the esophagus into the cervical region where there is a origin of the cricopharyngeus muscles just 6 inch below to the beginning of the esophagus, where there is a laryngopharynx continues as a pharynx become continuous as a at the esophagus. At this level there is a first constriction. Another it is the constriction by the arch of aorta at the sternal angle, junction of the sternal angle. It is 9 inches at the level of the T4 vertebra. Third, which is at the left bronchus, which is cross trachea divided into the left bronchus, which is it is the third constriction by the due to the left bronchus. There is a constriction of the esophagus, and fourth constriction at the opening of the diaphragm. It is a fourth constriction. So there are four constrictions inside the esophagus. First at the beginning, where there is a beginning of the esophagus just below the 6 inch at the level of the C6 vertebra, there is a due to the cricopharyngeus muscles origin. Second constriction which is due to the arch of aorta at the T4 vertebra, it is 9 inches after the beginning of the esophagus. It is the second constriction at the T4 level. Third constriction where the left bronchus crosses to the esophagus, it is nearly 11 inches and it is T6 level. And the last constriction of the esophagus at the diaphragm, it is 15 inches at the level of the T10 thoracic vertebra. Arterial supply of the esophagus, at the different level there is a different artery. Into the cervical region it is supplied by the inferior thyroid artery. It is a branch of the subclavian artery. Inside the posterior mediastinum, it is supplied by the posterior descending thoracic aorta by the posterior intercostal artery, and bronchial artery also, and left gastric inside the lower part of the esophagus, which is supplied by the left gastric artery, and also left phrenic artery. So this is the blood supply at the different level of the esophagus. Into the upper part by the inferior thyroid, into the thorax it is supplied by the descending thoracic aorta and bronchial artery. Branches of the descending thoracic are the bronchial artery, and inside the abdominal part it is supplied by the left gastric artery. So venous drainage same as into the neck region by the inferior thyroid vein. Into the thoracic part it is drained inside the azygos vein. Here you can see this is the azygos vein. So it is drained inside the azygos vein, and abdominal part it is drained inside the left gastric vein. So this is the venous drainage inside the abdominal region by the left gastric veins. Lymphatic drainage also at the different level. There is a different cervical layer, there is a jugulo-digastric lymph node. There are many. These are the black color are the lymph nodes. Jugulo-digastric lymph node. Here also you can see this is a lymph node. So lymph node, according to the level, there is a drainage of the esophagus, cervical region, jugulo-omoid lymph node, thoracic part by the paratracheal lymph node. We have removed all the paratracheal lymph node, and abdominal part there is a celiac lymph node. Now supply of the esophagus sympathetic, which is derived from the T5 and T6 segment, and parasympathetic, which is derived from the bilateral recurrent laryngeal nerve, and esophageal plexus from the vagus nerve, which contribute to the nerve supply of the esophagus. Clinical aspect of the esophagus, one is the hematemesis. Whenever there is a cirrhosis of the liver, it leads to there is a increase the portal vein pressure. It leads to there is a lower part of the esophagus, mainly the left gastric vein. There is a it is the portocaval anastomosis site, and it leads to there is a rupture of this vein. It leads to there is a hematemesis. Achalasia cardia of the esophagus, it is the congenital anomaly, absence of the ganglionic cells inside the mesenteric plexus, inside the esophageal wall. There is a absence of the mesenteric plexus, and this neuromuscular incoordinations, accumulations of the food inside the esophagus, and at the lower end, and fail to dilate in response to the bolus of the food. It lead to there is a, it is called the achalasia cardia. It is a congenital anomalies. Either a tumor inside the esophagus, it lead to there is a difficulty in swelling. It is called the dysphagia. Even there is a any tumor surrounding structure, it lead to there is a compression of the esophagus, and it lead to there is a compression syndrome. Sometimes for the visualization esophagus, we can introduce the scope from the mouth. From the mouth, we can introduce the scope. It is called the esophagoscopy or endoscopic, we can call. So for the visualization of the esophagus, for the barium study, we can do the barium shallow to expansion, and any tumor we can find during the barium shallow. So this is about to the esophagus. Hope you will like the esophagus lectures. Thank you.